I'm making a fretboard for my fourth acoustic guitar out of obsidian ebony. Believe it or not, this is not ebony, it's maple. It's been thermally modified to look like ebony. It's made by a company called ThermalWood up in Canada. And if you saw my previous video on this fretboard where I unboxed it, I appreciate you watching it. But if you haven't seen it, then check it out. I'll put a link in the description box below. But I said I was going to make a fretboard on a video, so let's go ahead and get started. Ah, forget it. It'll sand off. I went ahead and planed both sides so that I got both sides smooth, because what I want to do before I do fret slotting is I want to use this same material for binding on the side of the fretboard. And usually I just buy a different species of wood as binding, but for this fretboard I want to try to use the same type. So I've seen people do this, I just want to try it. I'm going to cut 2 strips off the side, and I should still have enough fretboard left over, plenty enough to get the fretboard out of, and have those 2 strips for binding. So let me cut those out. The clip you just saw was me cutting off the front end of the fretboard, square with this edge, and that's going to be the nut, where the nut goes. So I've got my jig set up to start cutting from the first fret. So I'm going to cut 20 frets, and I've got it ready to go. So let's just go ahead and do it. Last one. I gotta say, the smell of the wood is really strong right now after having cut 20 frets. Earlier, whenever I was processing the wood in here, I came back from the house, we left, and I came back and I could smell it still. But I'm sure it'll wear off after a while. It's just part of working with this thermally treated wood. And I did ask about it. The smell comes from the infusion of epoxy that they use in the process of making this maple look this way. But it is what it is. It's not going to put me off of using it. It's just part of it, I guess. Go ahead and get it out of here. See if I can get this off here without breaking something. I've taken careful measurements from my plans and I've transferred them over to the tape that I put on the back of the fretboard. The fretboard's down to rough thickness for now. I've also got the binding down to thickness as well, so I did take that into account when I made my marks. So I need to go ahead and cut this out, plane it down to the line, and then I can glue this binding back on. I am right at kind of where I need to be. I don't need to go any farther, I'll just put it that way. Look at that. Like this yellow piece just popped out. All right, that's pretty much it. Gotta let it dry. Then I can get the tape off. I went ahead and put some of these squeeze clamps on it just for good measure, just because it makes me feel a little better. So anyway, this has to dry, and I'll get the tape off tomorrow. I'll see you then. So next day, let's get this off. It's gonna take a little while, so. You can see where I'm at, so it's exactly where it needs to go right now. And I think I'm going to round off the bottom of the fretboard. I need to go ahead and cut that off where it needs to end, I think. I'm just going to use a sanding disc. All right, well that's the fretboard at this stage anyway. Of course, I've still got to attach it to the neck, and then I've got to radius it and install frets and all that kind of stuff. But for right now, I'm at a stopping point. I want to verify some things before I glue it on to do with this joint method. It's called a bolt-on, bolt-off neck joint, and I'm learning how to do it. So there's some things I still need to check, and I want to give myself some warm fuzzies about before I commit and glue this fretboard down. So I'm going to take care of those things in the meantime, but that's my process for making a fretboard. That's the way I learned how to do it. I'm sure there are other ways, but anyway, I told you I'd make a fretboard out of this material to test it out, and I did. And what can I say? Its process is just like wood. I mean, it is wood. It's just got epoxy in it somehow through the process of darkening it, and it does have a smell, so you just kind of got to be ready for that. Just know it does have a kind of a strong smell. It does fade away, but the smell is there, especially when you're working with it. So contact ThermalWood Canada if you want to know how to get some. I'll leave a link to their website in the description box below. I appreciate them for sending me this fretboard to try out. It was really cool of them. It looks like it's going to match well with this ebony headplate I have on here, and I'm going to get an ebony bridge to go as well. I think it'll blend right in. You'll never know it was maple. But anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you notice you're not subscribed, or even just give me a thumbs up, and that's all you got to do. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, I suppose. But that'll do it for today. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye.